plenty of things in question time today worth paying attention to, including a dodging that happened today from the government when they were talking about one of the organisations that we talk about on this show so frequently. According to Foodbank, about 3.7 million Australians struggled to find food to be able to put on the table. One of many charities that represent people who are desperately embarrassed about needing help, but they try to find help in their local areas. Now, this wasn't Foodbank, but it was a specific charity that is handing out food to people who need it in Western Sydney. Their local MP asked a question of the Prime Minister because there's a chance they're going to have to shut down because of power bills that, remember, were supposed to be dropping by $275 by this time next year.
My question is to the Minister for Climate Change and Energy. Western Sydney food charity Mamalana's may close down due to their energy bills increasing by $900, according to media reports. Founder Lana Borg said, quote, "The government needs to do more. It's disgusting that we're being slapped with higher costs after being promised cuts." When will the minister admit that the Albanese government's disastrous renewables-only energy policy is leading Australia in the wrong direction?
Now, you will have noticed much of the audible eye-rolling was not coming from the opposition side. It was coming from the government side in response to the question that was being asked. Now, remember, we're talking about a charity here, not a big business, not a small business, but a charity that may well end up going out of business because of the rising costs of power. Now, when it comes to homes, we're talking about hundreds of dollars. When it comes to charities and businesses, we're talking about thousands of dollars worth of increases that have happened since this government came to power. Again, their central promise was, from the current levels in May of 2022, there'd be a $275 reduction. Well, of course, things have gone way up, so even $275 down from where we are now is still way up on where we were when this government came to power. For his part, Chris Bowen, of course, had no answer and did not even engage with the specificity of the question regarding to the very charity, and he's a MP from Western Sydney. Michael Sukkar had plenty to say about population because, as we showed you last night, when it comes to just the month of January, only 12 and a bit thousand new dwellings were approved, and that's according to the far right-wing think tank known as the Australian Bureau of Statistics, despite the fact that more than 125,000 people had come into the country as permanent migrants. The maths doesn't work, and that was worth bringing up today.
Permanent and long-term overseas arrivals are outpacing the construction of new homes at a rate of almost 4 to 1, with 900,000 net overseas arrivals, but only 265,000 building completions since Labor came to government. When will the Prime Minister admit Labor's housing crisis is out of control and Labor's fake promise to build 1.2 million homes is yet another broken promise?
But perhaps my favourite question today came from Zali Steggall, the Teal, who actually kind of buried the lead here. You see, every year there's a federal budget and every year there are big announcements that come with it, and supposedly the assumption is that everything that's announced in the budget will actually be delivered. And when it's not, it's a little bit of a political issue. And Zali Steggall was so frustrated with the government promising one thing but doing nothing that she said this today in Question Time.
Last budget, the government promised to support small businesses save on energy bills with electrification incentives and an instant asset write-off. You also promised to help households save on energy costs with the Household Upgrade Fund. Neither of these policies have yet delivered a single dollar to a single household or small business. With the next budget now coming, what will you do to make sure incentives flow to households and small businesses to help them electrify and save on energy costs?
Made a promise, haven't delivered at all. What a surprise. Also, the Liberal Party started to use this term over and again in Question Time today, and I thought it was important to play to you tonight because obviously you were busy having a life and didn't see Question Time today.
Is leading Australia in the wrong direction.
The Prime Minister is taking this country in the wrong direction.
Why is the Prime Minister taking this country in the wrong direction?
Well, the majority of people that are asked in a poll, which is popping up so frequently in what I call the Turnbull Times, otherwise known as The Guardian, which shows us that the blue line is Australians who believe the country is headed on the wrong track. From about 12 months ago, it has been pretty consistent, and right now we are talking about a number that is in the, just below 50%. Best part is now 49% of people who believe the country's headed in the wrong direction. Now, the Prime Minister responded to all of this today, and the reason I'm giving you a blow-by-blow is because I like you to see the messages that they try to pump out there. Now, again, huge number of people who thought that the country was headed in the right direction for the first year of the government, who think it's headed in the wrong direction for the second year of the government, and the Prime Minister has the gall to say this.
But we'll continue to not be complacent, we'll continue to work each and every day in the interests of working Australians getting ahead.
Really? If that's the case, could somebody please explain to me how this government is standing by its decision last year to take $1,500 off 10 million workers? That was the automatic tax return. There's no difference in the cost of living strain that Australians live, yet an extra $1,500, by the way, of your own money, to be able to pay off major bills. Well, this government says, no, you're not allowed to have it. You should be thankful because under the tax cuts that they passed, those on low incomes are going to get just $15 a week. And then there's the central lie, the ongoing lie, the load of bull, when they say we're doing everything we can about cost of living. This government, when it came to power, the amount of money that Australians paid on fuel excise was just 23 cents per litre of petrol. They increased it, not to what it was, but to an even higher number at now 49 cents per litre. If the Prime Minister is serious about doing something about cost of living, he wants to get to as many people as possible, then why not halve the tax that he takes every single time you fill up?